Well, welcome back to the channel, folks, and as promised, I've returned now with a car which is covered in high build primer. It's had 4 coats in all, but those coats have been thinned out, so the mix from the manufacturer is 4:1, so it's 4 primer to 1 hardener, and the hardener itself is thin like a thinners, so you can spray it like that, but it goes on pretty lumpy like that. So I've mixed it again with another one of thinners, so it's 4:1 to 1, and that's gone on fairly thin coats. I've had 4 thin coats rather than a couple of thick coats, which has gone on better, I think, and I think paints tend to go on better like that anyway, so that's my limited experience. So this video should take you through all the processes of that. From the last video, the beginning the car looked like this in prime all one colour, but surprising how much more work it's taken to get it to this level, and there's still more work to be done. So from this level, the next video will be showing me guide coating this entire car and detailing it back ready for final paint, hopefully, depending on what we find. It is a slow process, and it is taking a long time, so there's a bit of a gap between each video now because I only have limited time to work on the car, so it's taking longer than my normal videos coming out. But it's not I don't want to rush this stage, because this is the stage which ultimately affects how the car looks in the end. So I want to take my time and do the best I can. Alright, let's see if we can tidy this corner up. Alright, so this is 120 grit. So I'm not going in with 80 grit here because I don't want to go scratching everything up too heavily. This is just a thin finish off. So let's see if we can get this looking a bit better. Okay, so I found getting into awkward areas like that, where the filler's sort of gone down behind, using a filler spreader with a bit of paper on it, and you can get it in there. Lovely, that's that. Nice. And what is nice is with the 600 grit, this primer filler is sanding very nicely. Now that's all I want to do is give it a very light running over, just to give it a key. Not so much for this side, because this side's fairly fresh and probably would still have a chemical bond, but the other side, it's well over a month since I painted that bit, so the chance of chemical key on that side is probably long gone. And then when we got some depth of filler primer on here, we can start then taping up edges and what have you to get absolutely nice crisp lines. But now all I want to do is go over the whole car and flat it back. And to do that, I'm going to use a sanding pad, not just my fingers, interface pad in between, and then sanding. So hopefully that'll give us a nice finish. But knock off the tip nibs without getting the finger scratches into it. And that's really all we need, I think. No one getting carried away with this, because all I want to do is, because guaranteed dust will settle into this as I painted it, so you'll get the odd bit of dust sticking out. If I can knock that off, then all the better. Right, let's start on this rear quarter and see how we get on. Right, must remember to wear a mask. The only thing I find with these masks is get a lot of moisture off your mouth, comes out of this hole here and drips on everything. So if it starts getting like that, I'll go and get some kitchen roll or something and stuff in there to hold that at bay. Flattening back very nicely. That's good, it's not clogging the paper up. It's staying sharp, so that's good. Wrap that around my video block as well. So try and avoid fingers at this stage as much as possible to stop get little waves in it. He says then uses his finger, but it fits in there just nice. I suppose I could try the dry guide coat on it and see how I get on with that. See if I get on better with it than I did last time. I think I'm probably putting it on too thick. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, it's interesting how it shows up immediately, the grain in it. Maybe I should use this more. Yeah, okay, that does work well. I should have put more faith in it previously. So you can see where it's gone all grey now, is where all the guide coat is off and it's nice and perfectly smooth there. We shouldn't be touching this now with my fingers. And it highlights little areas like that, which need a bit more going over. Right, what'll be interesting now is if I go back over this piece, which I just did, and thought was okay, see what the guide coat reveals on that. Well, interestingly, the first thing I notice is it doesn't go on as harsh as it does on the paint that I haven't sanded yet. Could probably do with a better way of distributing it onto the pad. Okay, that is interesting. Okay, so we start to see the the epoxy coming through here now, but still there's areas like that the guide coat is highlighting is got little scratches and what have you in it. Okay, I should be trusting the guide coat, so that's a lesson to be learned there. Use the guide coat and trust it. Right, I am back, armed with a bit of kitchen roll, which I'm going to stuff in the end of here to stop the dribbles coming out and dropping all over everything. And the paper staying sharp, so that's good. Okay, well, it's interesting to see how much more sanding I needed to do once I put the guide coat on, so I could see what was actually going on. A little bit more there to do, for example. And I am probably being overly fussy now, because I am going to be, you know, white is very forgiving, as a couple of you have mentioned and I've mentioned before. You don't have to have a very perfect finish for white, but I can't help myself. The more I see, the more I want to do. I may paint this car in about 20 years' time when I'm happy with the finish of it. Hopefully you can see the difference between where the guide coat is sitting into the scratches and the little bits of orange peel to it being beautifully smooth across there. So yeah, it works well. Trust the guide coat. Okay, so learning as I'm going to use a mixture of long blocks and this pad, and using the compressor to clean out the sandpaper. Lovely. So using the long blocks and getting it to a nice finish like that. But I'm going to try this one. This might be too long, not quite accurate for this, but I'll give it a go to see how I get on with the move on a bit faster with this, I think. Yeah, that's working nicely. So again, just like when we were sanding the filler, sort of a 30-degree angle is apparently what's best from one of my research. So, and it's worked so far. And if my filler work has worked, this shouldn't be too far off. Interesting to see what happens down here, because an area here, which I think is just there, I'm not entirely happy with. I wonder if we can pull it out with the paint, or whether it's going to need a little bit more filler just sort that piece out there. Yeah, that showed it up actually. Just there, you can see, so we should mark that off really. Pencil. Mark that area to remind us, and a little bit there as well. The rest of it along there looks okay. Bit of a shadow there. You can get rid of that. We're down to the epoxy there, so time to stop before we go back to bare metal. Ooh. Yeah, we've got a shallow there as well. That one's okay, but I can feel that one for definite. Oh God, that might come out with paint. That is very, very minor. We'll see how we get on with the next couple of coats of high build primer. That might take it out. It's such a small amount. That definitely needs sorting out there. Let's give that actual edge. So my little sanding block I made from the other side, hopefully will come and do it to its own there. Right, so I'm going to carry on sanding the bottom of the door here now and see how we get on. Won't bore you with that. Right, okay, that's one side blocked off and flatted down. And surprising with the guide coat how much it highlights very slight imperfections. So you can see the dark patches there. We've gone through to the epoxy primer below, but that's how much it needed in it. And to be honest, this probably wouldn't show up with the white, but I might as well deal with it while I'm at it. Okay, so my plans for the bonnet: use the what you call it, the sander, because this is mostly a big flat area. I should get away with using my DA orbital sander. So get a guide coat over that now and see how we get on. So I've got 600 grit. I've got a new one in there, and a soft interface pad as well. So Hopefully that'll stop it gouging. Obviously going to try and avoid the peak there and the edges. Just go for the flats and then get the others by hand. And I try and keep out the way of the camera as well. Okay, so just stop there for a second to show you what this is actually highlighting. So initially I was just going to use a soft pad and give it a quick scuff over, but with putting the guide coat on there, where I just put a quick scuffing over, you can see here is loads of little tiny, you can't even feel them, but running the paper, the sander over it, it's certainly showing up. So a bit more effort, but definitely worth the effort. Right, that's the bonnet buzzed down. You can see it's dusty in here, so that's all come up quite nicely. Guide coat is doing the job there, to be fair, and the top of the wing is buzzed off as well. So we'll go on the over the roof now and down the side of the car and come back to you. Rightio, so after a lot of flattening back and blocking and sanding, this is where we're at. So it's mostly good. I've got a couple of little pinholes here and there which I need to go around and sort out, but this area here seems to have sorted itself out just for the thicknesses of the paint, so that's good news. There's a pinhole there I need to sort out. You grab a pencil to sort those out. Right, so let's make a mark on that. There's some around here somewhere as well, so we need to try and mark these as we see them. But on the whole, I'm quite happy with how it's flatted back. Some of the areas which I'd marked up previously have sorted themselves out. This was one area on the boot here. That's all okay now. There's still the area on the door here, which is what I'm going to tackle next. And the area on the front of the wing here, that is flatted out. So this is all good news. So we're looking nice and flat. The roof has come up nicely. So happy days. And also over here, I've sorted out the little dink that was there as well. So that's come up all right as well. So what I want to sort out next is a couple of issues here. So that just the swage line hasn't worked up properly there and there. And we can use our block we made to get us right on that, so I can get a little bit of filler in there, not a lot, just a little bit, and then we can sort that out. Right, the filler's kicked off now, so let's, right, you'll notice I've been scribbling around here with a pencil. Hopefully the idea is to stop me taking too much away from the rest of the material that's there, because we know that's all pretty good. I'm just going to use a 120 grit now to knock this down, hopefully, so we don't get too carried away with scratchiness, and just wrap it around the block. And then we'll use this one to finish it off, hopefully. So let's see how we get on with this. Right, I think I'll start attacking that with some 600 grit now. Right, I think we've got somewhere with that one. Right, yo, that's those little imperfections there hopefully sorted out. You'll see those better when the paint goes on, but if they feel good across there now, and so I'm pretty confident that's sorted that out. Gone through to bare metal there, so I'll probably just brush in a little bit of epoxy on that to stop that from, there's not really a rust issue area on the car, so I'm not overly concerned about it. The epoxy is more about the areas where water tends to trap, but it won't hurt to brush a bit on there. And I've also been around, there's a couple of areas, like down there I had a couple of little pinholes, so with a filler I've been around and sorted my pinholes out, so we should be ready for some filler primer. Right, okay, we're mostly masked off. You just need to mask off around the base of the car to stop it, the overspray going under the car and over the wheels of course. And I've masked this so the doors can be open, so I can spray all in the shut lines like so, and then push the door to spray the outer sides of it. Same with the boot. Mask this off in such a way that I can spray all the shut lines and the boot lines in there, then pull this down, hold it with the little clip there, so that'll hold that down in place so we can paint the top of it. And all masked off, same with this door, masked off so I can paint in there and push the door to, and so forth. So we're almost there, ready to paint. And also the bonnet is masked off as well, the engine bay, with a special masking blanket, so I can paint under the bonnet and again around the shut lines in there. Box of goodies have turned up just in time. This is my I like using these. It's the disposable paint cup system. It works out about £1 a pot, but it's worth every penny because they're it saves a load of hassle with clean up. Righto, been around with the seam sealer all down the edges there, seam sealed between the wing and the bonnet lines there, that's all seam sealed as well, so we're close to getting ready for actually putting some primer on. Righto, got the fire going, so it'll be nice and toasty in here in about 10 minutes, which give me time to finish off masking off the car, and then we can start getting some paint on it. Alright, so I'm going to mix up 3 pots first of all and see where that gets us and take it from there. Alright then, here goes, we're all ready to splash some more primer on it. Fan turned on. Right, that's paint job number 1, and that took almost all 3 of those mixes as it happens. So I mixed up another 3 now, ready for the next coat in 20 minutes time. That's flashed off. I'm quite happy with how that door line looks now. That's a massive improvement on what it was before. And on the whole, this is looking all right. Right, that coat is now flashed off. This is looking better with each coat. I'm very happy with this. I think this is only going to need a little sanding and for top coat. I'm quite happy with how the body lines look. I don't think I need to be, my intention was to be taping these off and sanding them up, but I think they look okay. I think the effort I put into them has already paid off. So yeah, so far so good. Next coat on, won't bother filming anymore. I'm just going to keep on piling the paint on now. It's the same old, same old. Right, yo, that's now had 4 coats of high build primer, which is all gone on well. That's the last of the primer all gone. I ended up mixing it all up and using it. They're fairly thin coats because I mixed it 4 to 1 to 1, so 4 paint, 1 hardener, 1 thinner. So it's gone a fairly light coats for a high build primer. But lots of thin coats are better than 1 or 2 thick coats. And the good news is our 500 gun from Amazon, still working a treat. So for those that like to know this sort of thing, it's a 1.7 tip and was running at about 30 psi on there. I've got air separators, a water separator on my compressor and a tap underneath the compressor which I let the water out of and make sure it's running dry before I use it. Worryingly, it was making a bit of a knocking noise, so I probably just should check the oil on that at some point. But yeah, so far so good. I'll just check the oil is okay in the compressor. So the knocking noise, it's only slight and we can only hear it if I cock my head in a certain way, but it's just different, it's changed. But I do have a backup compressor, so if it comes to it, we'll have to bodge about and make that one fit instead of that one. It's been going for a good few years. I've had this, built this about 20 odd years ago, so it's lasted pretty well. A little critter has ended up in the paint by there, a little flamer. But on the whole, considering my garage looks like that, it's been pretty good. I have bought some polythene too, and so when I come doing the final coats, I'm going to sheet out above the garage and down the sides here. I try and mitigate as best I can against dirt getting into it. But all in all, it's not been too bad. A little bit on the bonnet just there as well. But that's not bad for a home bodger. I'm quite happy with that. My breathing apparatus, I caught it on the back there and it snapped some of my 3D printing off there, so I'm gonna have to do a repair to that. So in the meantime I just had to tape that up and continue using it with just 1 filter. So it seemed to work okay. The tell is if you can smell it through the filter, then it's not working. So as I was painting, I couldn't smell the paint. So we should be okay on that front. You can see now, like I said at the outset, we're at the finish now, 4 coats of high build primer ready for detailing, ready for final paint. So that'll be the next one. Again, please subscribe if you don't already. Please like and share and comment, it all helps.